Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. We're here at Sardinia Windmills today to look at dirt racing. Do you have trouble racing on the dirt? Do you need answers? Do you need help? Do you have questions about how you can win at these tests, whether they're circuit experience, general racing, or just general handling of the car? Well, today we're going to find out. We're going to demonstrate how to go and exploit the advantages and disadvantages of dirt racing on dirt to be able to give you those tips to get you to gold. My impression and my understanding of racing on dirt within Gran Turismo 7 is not representative of real life. So if you have experience of driving a rally car or dirt track car, I don't think you'll be able to correlate much of it to how the car needs to be treated in this game. There are some similarities, but I genuinely think that people come to this game expecting this to be simulating the true life of a rally driver or a dirt racer, and unfortunately that's not the case. The case is therefore put that you need to consider certain factors before you enter these processes. The drivetrain. We're going to focus primarily on four-wheel drive cars today, those being a Subaru Impreza. You could be using other vehicles of a similar ilk, but I will always try and set this Subaru Impreza to a 40-60 powertrain. That's 40% to the front of the car, 60% to the rear. The reason being is what we're looking for is the car to be dragged out of corners primarily rather than pushed. You have the ability to go 50-50, but I feel this car needs a little bit of back end push to be able to drive it out the corners as well as being dragged out. Some cars like the original 22B tend to be more balanced to the back of the car and they need much more push from the rear, but these newer more modern rally cars in this game I believe require front end pull. So with that, 40-60% on the split. With the powertrain established, what we then need to look at is how you're going to get around the circuit. I believe in this game you need to be faster than slow, and by that you need to enter corners faster, you need to exit corners faster than you physically feel you need to. Say for example a 90-degree left hand corner, which we're going to deal with in sector 2 of the Sardinia Windmills tests. It's a 90-degree left. You're going to come into that corner seriously over speed, and you're going to allow the car to drag itself through the corner at a higher than anticipated speed. Well, much against people's belief, I'm going to say let's not use a handbrake at all in any of these tests. I don't feel it's needed. I don't believe the car reacts well to a handbrake within the game, and I feel you can do exactly the same by pressing the brake and steering the wheels. Braking. There are two types of braking I feel you need to understand, and that's threshold braking in the game and trail braking. Threshold braking is where you get to the point of maximum acceleration before your corner and you full on the brakes, and then you come off the brakes midway through the corner when you're ready to put on the power. What you'll find with this game is that is pretty true to the process. You can use the steering to turn the car, but you can also use the throttle whilst you're under braking. So we're going to explore that and touch on that as we go through the game. So prior to braking, it's all about your line, your entry into a corner or your entry into a straight. We've got to look at where you need to drive, where you need to put the power down, and where you need to press the brakes and on what surfaces. So for example, braking on the grass is going to be a longer braking journey than it is on the rubble or the gravel. Try and brake on the gravel all the time. Some situations might predict that not possible, but we'll actually focus on that as we go through the test today. You also need to look at taking shortcuts where possible. So we've established the lines, we've established braking, now we're going to look at turn-ins. We need to look at the pendulum terms. We're not going to look at Scandinavians because within this process we're going to be going much too quickly to put the time in to make a Scandinavian turn deliberately. But we will look at what happens after a Scandinavian turn, which is using the momentum from the rear of the car to make a pendulum turn. That's going to allow us to be fast in, fast out. We need to be turning in early in most cases so that we can allow the car to slide into the corner. And there's one particular test 3, that is going to focus on that before an S-bend, where we're going to use and exploit the pendulum turn to its finest. So to navigate yourself through the corners, you're also going to have to look at how you control the pedals. That's going to be with 2 feet driving. You're going to use a left foot braking, right foot throttle process, and you will be pressing the brake and pressing the throttle at the same time. We need to talk about prediction. We need to talk about anticipation of where the car is going to go and where you want the car to go. So we're going to end up mostly exiting and entering corners, pointing the car opposite or at a different angle to the direction of travel to establish the direction of travel out of the corner. We're going to be traveling in straight lines, and with that being the case, we also have to consider the track that we drive over. So all that being said, let's quickly dive into what we're going into, and we'll tackle the tests. So this is the circuit experience at Sardinia Windmills. In the first sector, we're going to look at being fast. We're going to use left foot braking, and we're going to try and establish the speed where the speed needs to be. We're going to try and keep it on the gravel and accelerate us through the corners as much as possible. So as we come over the line, we're going to make our way to the right and then back to the left, trying to keep the car where the traction is in place. Travelling down the hill, we're probably a bit to the right, but we're going to make that up through this corner, keeping to the gravel sector. We're going to turn the car by pressing the brakes, then we're going to hit the throttle, try and keep the car at an angle to try and force it around the corner. We get onto the grass there, which doesn't help our process, but then as we come through the line, we're keeping accelerating and we establish gold. Gold here is quite lenient. All you've got to do is get down that hill without touching the walls, which is quite tricky. So let's have a quick review of how we do that from the outside. Primarily, we keep the wheels focusing down the circuit, and then you just have to deal with the car being flicked from bump to bump. Turn the car as much as possible, and this external view gives you the opportunity to see just how much the car moves across the surface. Again, as we come down this corner, we're going to overturn the car into the corner and allow the back end to power around and drive us around the corner. You can see what we talk about with prediction and anticipation, and we are aiming the car in the direction we want it to go. What we'll try and give you now is an overview of just how little you're going to use the brakes in these tests. So as we come down here, foot on the throttle, touch the brake, make the car turn, back on the throttle. As we come down the hill, we're just going to keep that throttle planted, touch the brake, make the car turn. Again, back full on the throttle, touch the brake, make the car turn. There's a little bit of pulsing on the brake pedal, just as we try and find the biting point for it to turn the car. Here we go again, just touch the brake, make the car turn, back on the throttle through the line. The following sector 2 we'll talk about braking and turning, anticipation and prediction, and awareness of where the car needs to go. Here we go. We're going to make the right hand turn, keep the car to the right hand side of the track. We're going to stamp on the brake, make the car turn in the air, get on the power and drive for the line. Don't hit the wall on the right hand side. But with this test, you've got to really make it turn with the brakes and then just get back on the gas, and this is where the 40-60 comes in. We're going to make the front wheels drag the car out of the corner. So here's that external view again. We're going to get airborne, but we're going to hit the brakes as soon as we can, so we're braking as we touch down, turn the car and drive it away out of the corner. As you cross the line, you suddenly realise that's only 11 seconds of a test, and you can get through a number of goes at this. So here we go, the external view again. We're going to look at where we brake and where we don't. Just giving you the feel for the understanding of how that turning point is applied to the car. We're going to go through that corner, you have to turn it and then hit the throttle and drive it through the corner. It's only 11 seconds, you need to see it a few times before you really get the feel for the process. So you can see where I braked a long way before that little jump. As we come round the corner, you're siding slow close to that fence, but keep the power down, don't lift, and you get through the line. So here we go, throttle on the right hand side, brake on the left. Get the throttle down, we're going to tap the brake really hard, slam it onto the ground, turn the car back on the throttle and drive it out of the process. This works on so many tests, so many courses, so many different tracks. You have to really get that understanding of turning the car and predicting where it's going to go. So sector 3 talks about racing line, the pendulum turn and accelerating out of a corner. You really just got to accelerate from the point you lift the brakes, and you are really accelerating if you're not braking. So here we go through the line. We're going to make our way over to the left hand side of the track and avoid the big bumps. Just going to tap the brake to make the car turn and get on down the track. Try and stick to the gravel, but take the shortcuts across the grass where you can, and then brake as soon as you hit the gravel. Make the car turn on the gravel. Shorten the line by cutting across the grass on the insides, and here's the pendulum turn. We're going to swing it from left back to right and get back on the gas and drive the car out the corner. Again, we're angling the car into the corner and making the car follow the line we want it to go in. If you let it run wide, you'll be in that right hand fence. Just drive all the way to the line, and there we are through to increase our best record. So as we said, and as we did last time, we're going to look at this in a very quick method, but we're actually going to look at it in such a way that we can understand where we're going. You can see just how much that car's being thrown around. We're going to pick up these shortcuts, cut from grass to grass across the gravel strips, and then we're going to find the braking point while on the gravel. Look how much we stick to the gravel and just use the grass to slide the car. Slide the car back on the power again, and you can see the act of the rear of the car in the pendulum turn. It's not a Scandinavian because we're not taking that deliberate opposite lock to start the initiation of the turn. We're actually starting the braking position from a straight line. Again, this is a 50-second test, but it flies past so quickly. So here we go, back over the start-finish line. Make your way over to the left and avoid the two big bumps in the middle of the track. Make the car slide through the corner, get back on the power, push hard, avoid that fence on the left. As we're coming down here, you need to spot your braking marker, which is as soon as you get back all four wheels on the gravel, slide the car into the corner. And it's amazing until you realise how little brake you're using to actually make this car turn. As it says in the notes, it is a 2% braking portion of any of the tests. You're only braking for 2% of the time. And on certain corners, you don't even brake at all, you just use the car to slow the car. So here we go, this is the representation of just how much brake you're using. Coming down the throttle straight, we're full on the gas. We're just going to tap the brake to make the car turn, back on the gas, and already we're setting ourselves up for this braking point down the track. Across the grass, shortcut on the brakes, make the car turn using the steering wheel. Off the brakes, back on the gas, back on the brakes. Make the car swing from left to right using the rear of the car, and then drive it out the corner. We're not going to touch the brakes again between now and the finish. And there we go across the line. It's probably one of the hardest finishes as a full lap as you swing out onto the right hand side of that finish line. But here we go, the final lap around. We're going to put it all together and see where we go. You've got to remember everything we've gone through. So coming down to the start finish, we go through the line. We're going to set ourselves up for this first left hand corner. Just a slight tap on the brakes initiates the turn. You can see both ghosts in front of us, the demonstration and ours. We come down the centre of the track, much better on this time we run through. Again, sticking to the gravel as much as we can. The brake initiates the turn through the corner. We're going to slide it out wide, probably to try and pick up a better line out. And we do. We're going to accelerate through the green stuff, back across to the right hand side to take the narrow corner, and then we're going to stamp on the brakes and make the car turn. We haven't done it quite as quickly, but we've still got a decent line through. We're going to make our way over to the left hand side of the track where we're going to avoid the two jumps. And we're going to stab the brake to make the turn right. And we're going to have another go at it because we didn't turn enough, but we're still good. We're going to set ourselves up for the braking point. We're going to brake just as all four wheels hit that gravel, make the car turn left through the apex, turn right using the pendulum turn method, making the back end of the car swing around. And then we're just going to accelerate and go for the line. We're on it, we're pushing, we're hard on. And we're going to aim for the line. No more brakes, just charge for the line, stay to the middle of the track as much as possible, and that should give us a decent time through the line. A 14.441, which at the end of the day is pretty quick, but not as fast as the fast guys. So here we go, an external review just to show how much the line changes, how much the angle of the car is away from the direction of travel. We're going to oversteer into the corner. and then we're going to pick up the straight part of the track, and we're still not heading in the right direction. We're going to oversteer, point the car to where you want it to go. There it is. We're going to drive it round the corner, having used the brakes to initiate the turn. We're going to push through the corner, turn the car. Too much? No, it came back online beautifully. Here we come through this corner. We're going to keep to the right. We're going to make the car turn, back on the gas and drive it out of the corner. Good, we could have hit that a lot quicker, but we're doing it the same way here. We're going to catch up that time by being much quicker because we're longer on the gas. As we come down here, we're going to brake when all four wheels are on the gravel, coming back from that left hand side. The pendulum turn is initiated. We're going to make it swing round, and we're going to do it one more time around the corner and just full on the gas now. No more braking. We're going to not brake before the line, just going to keep the power down, make the car turn in and then drive for the line. Try and minimise the jump. It's where GT7 actually self-lets it down with the physics on the jumps and how the car lands. But we're not going to criticise it overly, we're just going to demonstrate how to overcome it. So tap of the brakes initiates the turn, full on the throttle, trying to manage it down the circuit, tap of the brake again, going to tap the brake again to make the car turn. All the gas as much as we can to get it round the corner. A little release of the throttle, a little bit of modulation just to try and keep the car in check. Then we're going to make it through this corner. Brake as we go over the jump, make the car turn with the brake again and drive it out of the corner. As we steer over to the left hand side, you can see the car changing gear. As we hit the hump, the throttle comes off and then we turn right with a stab of the brakes. You have to predict where the car's going to go to. You have to make the car oversteer into that corner, and here we go. The pendulum turn demonstration. As we come through these corners, push the car to its extent, to its extreme, make the car come round the corner and hit the throttle for one more time to complete the lap. We didn't actually hit the brakes there to make the car turn into that last corner, and we drive to the line. As much and as easy as it seems, that is a very quick 20-minute explanation. We do finish very, very well with the high place finish, and as you can see there from the friends list, but we're nowhere near the top 10 stars. I hope that was somewhat of a way to explain how to enjoy the dirt rally, and we'll see you on the next one. All the best, take care.